Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we're going to talk about leadership. If you're an executive, if you're a C-suite professional, if you're an entrepreneur with a team, a business owner, company owner, and you got people following you, this is a must. This video is so important. If you're not quite that person yet, but you know you want to be, you know you want to be a person of influence, you want to get people to follow you on a mission, on a vision, then this video is key for you. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand some very important pieces of leadership. Now, if you're not a team leader yet, you might be thinking, I don't need to watch this. Okay, I'm not a leader yet, I don't need to watch this. This video right now, the first key to great leadership, which I'm going to give you in this video, is for everybody. It's for everybody. This first principle of exceptional leadership is applicable to everybody. So even if you don't lead a team yet, this is going to make you a more successful entrepreneur. This is going to make you a better business owner. This is going to make you a person, even in socially, relationships, everything. It's going to make you a more impactful and powerful person. Leadership is key. You know, I coach a lot of companies. I mentor a lot of individuals on leadership. I work with big corporations, some of the biggest companies in the world with tens of thousands of employees. I work with all different types of companies, okay, from literally about 6 countries. And leadership is a massive part of what I do with these senior level people, these already successful people. Now, what is leadership really? Leadership, John Maxwell is the expert. He's written about 80 books on leadership. I love listening to John. I saw him live a couple of years ago. And he talks about leadership as creating that desire that in other people that they want to follow you. Okay, so you have to, even if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a YouTuber, you want to be, basically you want to be a leader so that people can follow you. Okay, so also, you know, the next stage of leadership is creating other leaders, not just followers, but that's for another video. So today I'm going to give you the first step of becoming a powerful leader, of becoming an influential leader, of exceptional leadership. Okay, I'm going to give you the first step today. And the first step, and I do this training with companies, is called the laws of leadership, or the principles of exceptional leadership, or how to become an influential leader. I have a couple of different trainings on leadership, and I'm going to give you the first part, the first key that's in all of them, and that is to lead over yourself. You have to be able to lead over yourself. How can you lead an army if you can't manage yourself? You know, Jordan Peterson said that brilliantly first. He's like, all these protesters, is your bedroom tidy? Okay, is your bedroom clean? You're out there protesting on the streets, but your bedroom isn't clean. Doesn't make any sense. You have to be able to lead your own life first. You have to be able to walk your path first. How do you expect other people to follow you? Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who talk a good game and they have a big show, but they don't have real leadership behind the scenes. I'm talking to the people today who want to be real leaders. They want to make an impact. Because real leaders know that the secret to greatness is the service of others. When you're using the gifts God gave you, you're serving. You're like, if you want to be uber successful, you have to impact the most people. And the only way to impact people is to serve them. Okay, so you have to be able to be somebody that is, for me, it's so important. The integrity of a great leader is that someone that's walking the path themselves. You can only take people as far as you've gone yourself. I always say that about coaching and coaches. You can only take someone as far as you've gone yourself. That's why today there's a lot of people who call themselves coaches and mentors, but they haven't gone very far themselves. And that's why they're limited in how far they can take people. Now, they'll sell you a good show up front, but behind closed doors, they can't really go that deep, go that far, because they haven't gone themselves. That's why the first principle of exceptional leadership is to lead over yourself. Lead by example. Okay, lead with the feet, not with the mouth. Don't just talk a good game, walk a good game. Okay, you have to lead from the front. Did you ever hear the saying, you can't push a wet noodle off a table? You have to lead from the front. All right, think about that. You can't push a wet noodle off a table. You got to lead from the front. So that's the first principle of great leadership, is leading yourself first. How can we do that? How can we lead over ourselves first? First thing is knowing who you are. It's a self-awareness. You've heard me talk about it before. If you've been here a while, you're going to hear me talk about it forever until the end of time. Awareness is the key. It's the first step of everything. You have to get clarity on who you are. What type of leader do you want to be? What type of man or woman are you, and do you want to be? What type of person do you want to be? How do you want to make an impact? What's the kind of legacy you want to have? Okay, what kind of reputation do you want to have? How do you want people to talk about you when you're not around? Okay, so you have to get clear on who you are first. Most important is, how do you feel about yourself? Are you in alignment? Are you walking the path that you know you should be on? A lot of stress and burnout and fatigue and exhaustion and confusion comes from being in someone else's lane. You're building your house on somebody else's land. You're not building on the right land, not building on your land. What does that mean? It means you're listening to others' ideas, other people's versions of success, other people's versions of leadership and sales and business and entrepreneurship. You're not creating your lane. And this is what I see people really falling short and struggling with. Okay, so the first step, again, to leading over yourself is just getting to know who you are. What makes you you? Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of person do you want to be? And a big part of that is getting clear on your values. What are your values? What's important to you? Okay, values are key. And I do a lot on relationships. A lot of people come to me on relationships for some reason for years. I've been on a few dating relationship podcasts. My own podcast, I did a dating relationship episode. It went super viral as well. It was crazy. And the one piece of advice I'm always giving is you got to be willing to get clear on your values and get clear on your partner's values. And you guys have to match on that. You have to have synergy on that. If you have one value and she has a different value, vice versa, it's not going to work. It might work temporarily, and we've all been there where it works temporarily, but it doesn't work long term because the values don't align. Well, it's the same as a leader in business. Okay, in your company, as a corporate leader, as an entrepreneur and company owner, it's key to know that these are my principles, this is my integrity, these are my standards, these are my values, and then the right people can find you and they'll recognize you. They'll recognize the values. They'll recognize the qualities. They'll recognize the principles of what's important. Then they're going to follow you. Then you're going to make an impact. You're going to be able to move people. But if you don't know who you are, what you want, what you stand for, it's going to be impossible. Okay, how can people recognize you and identify you if you don't know yourself? If you don't recognize yourself? Okay, let me know in the comments if you can relate to that. If you feel like you haven't been clear on who you are. So the second step to leading over yourself, very simple, is to be more likable. Some of you guys just aren't very likable. Now maybe some of you don't think I'm likable, that's fine. I think I'm quite likable. And I see, although there is people probably who don't like me, because there's people who don't like everybody. And especially today with so many opinions and diversity, I think a lot of people struggle. When I say diversity, I mean diversity of information, channels, noise, right? So many opinions. But I think a lot of times we don't like someone because we misunderstand someone. I think that's a big key, and that's two people's responsibility. The people who are communicating don't do a good job of potentially communicating who they are, and maybe we don't do a good enough job of listening, okay, and of understanding and of having empathy and compassion, okay? So not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. And we don't want everyone to like us. It's not what it's about. Oh, maybe we do want it, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. That doesn't mean you should give up completely on being more likable. You should be more likable. You don't want to be so rigid in your way that you really, people become allergic to, that people become resistant to you, that people are literally, they have an aversion to you because you're so rigid in your way. Great leadership is about being adaptable. A great communicator, a great person of influence is about being adaptable. It's about being flexible. You want to be loose and flowy. You want to be like a nice branch in the breeze, okay? You want to put the palm trees here in Dubai or in Miami, they blow nice and easy. You want to be rigid in some things, but you want to be flexible in other things. And in your personality, you want to be generally easygoing, optimistic. That's likable. There's simple qualities to be more likable, is to be easygoing, to have a naturally relaxed nature, to be calm and confident in yourself. And real confidence is silent. It's not from your words. It's not from being brash and dressing fancy and having a fancy car. Real confidence is silent. It's who you are. It's presence. It's a certainty of yourself. It's a knowingness of yourself. And when you have those and you're not trying to imprint or overpower others, you will be more likable. And at the very least, people will respect you, because when you know yourself, we all respect that. When we see someone who's authentic, who's aligned, who has a presence and aura about them, that they know who they are, it's very attractive. It's interesting because there's a peace. They're not trying to oversell. They're not trying to convince. Okay, they're not trying to force you into a way of thinking or being. It's a pleasure to be around them because they know who they are. They don't need to overpower themselves onto you. So that's a key part of leadership, is to be likable. Okay, just to be more easygoing, to be more friendly, to be relaxed, and also just not to be an asshole. That's a big part of it. Just don't be an asshole, or don't be bitchy. Okay, that's going to help you a long way. It's going to help you really a long way down the road, just not being an asshole or being bitchy. Just be easygoing, be friendly, be optimistic. Okay, see the best in things and situations. And again, when you do the work on yourself, that will happen naturally. Usually the people who haven't done the work on themselves, they're in denial. They don't realize they're asleep actually. And that's why they're outwardly assholish, okay? Because they're in denial, they're asleep, they don't know who they are. So they're just pissed off and frustrated. And then they just act out and it's only their way or the highway. So don't do that, okay? Because that's not a way of leading over yourself and you're definitely not going to get people to follow you. Unless you attract a tribe of other people who are like that, but that's going to lead to friction in the future. So that's a big piece, being more likable. Next one is to become self-reliant, okay? It's becoming self-reliant. And self-reliant is very important. It means you can trust yourself, okay? It means you can start to trust who you are. Like, you often hear about self-love, and I always say we're miles away from self-love. Let's start with self-like first before we get into self-love. The reason people don't love themselves is because they don't like themselves. The reason they don't like themselves is because they don't trust themselves. The reason they don't trust themselves is because they don't know themselves. And the reason they don't know themselves is because they never dig deep. They never even look as to who they are. They don't get into self-exploration. You know, self-education is very popularized. For me, I'm a big believer. That's how I started, self-education. Not formal education, self-education. But over the last few years, I've talked a lot about self-exploration. That's the most important. Yes, you have to self-educate, but then you have to self-explore. You have to be an explorer of who am I. You have to begin to know who you are. When you start to know who you are, then you start to trust yourself. Okay, we talked about it in the last point. When you know who you are, when you get clear, you become more likable. But you also start to trust yourself. Now, when you trust yourself, you start to like yourself. Most of the time, you don't like yourself because you don't trust yourself, because you're not self-reliant. Okay, you're depending on other things and you're unstable in yourself and your position on things. Become self-reliant. Then you'll start to like yourself more and more. You'll start to love yourself. And then you'll be a real leader and you'll be able to impact many, many people. And the last one I want to give you is very much connected to that, and it's do what you say you'll do. Do what you say you're going to do. Men listening, it's one of the most masculine things you can do is to do what you say you'll do. But females also, keep your word. Truth is the foundation of everything. How can you be a great leader if you don't have truth? And do you want to be a leader based on something that's not truth? No, you want to be a leader based on truth. Truth is the most powerful force in the world. People used to think love, I used to think love was the most powerful force in the world. Do you think love is the most powerful force in the world? Because it's not. Because can you have love without truth? You cannot. Because if you don't have truth, you don't have love. It's based on a lie. It's based on illusion. So truth is the most powerful energy force in the world, because once you have truth, you can build everything on top. You can build love. You can have power once you have truth in the bottom. Okay, so as a leader, you want to do what you say you will do. Now, that means you keep your word. That means you're building and basing your position on truth. People can follow that because they can rely on you. Like I said, you have to be able to rely on yourself first to be self-reliant, way before someone else can rely on you. So when you get clarity of yourself and you know, I do what I say I'll do always, no matter what happens, I'll get it done. If I have to struggle, if I got to fight, if it takes 10 times longer, 100 times longer, it costs more than I thought it would, and I promise you it will. It's always going to take 10 times longer and cost 10 times more. Starting the business, growing the business, building a team, whatever, setting up an infrastructure, everything takes longer and costs more. Ask anyone who's ever done anything. They can tell you that. Okay, so do what you say you will do. This is how you lead over yourself. That's going to make you more self-reliant. It's going to make you like yourself more and be more likable. It's going to help you lead by example, lead from the front. So like I said at the beginning of this video, it doesn't matter if you're a team leader or not yet. This video is going to be valuable to you if you apply it. It's the first step to exceptional leadership, leading over yourself. Then we can add on all the other things about being a great leader. But it starts with you. It starts with clarity within yourself, clarity within your stance, your position, and knowingness, a level of certainty. And you can't have certainty unless you have clarity, unless you have truth, and unless you walk the path yourself. You have to walk the path yourself. You can't take people further than you've gone yourself. So that's today's video on leadership. Let me know in the comments if this resonated. Do you want me to talk more about leadership? Do you like hearing about, again, a lot of people don't watch videos maybe on leadership because they think I'm not a leader. Let me know if you agree But what I said at the beginning, this is for everybody. This video is for everybody. This type of leadership is for everybody. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share it. If you want to talk to me about leadership, if you want me to come into your company and shake up everything, work with the board, work with you, you're the CEO, you're an executive, you want me to work with your team, click on the link below. You can book a call with me and I will talk to you soon. See you guys in the next video.